is the questions that you guys have. So go ahead, bring it. What's good? What do you have questions on? Was there a transaction or a conversation that you felt could have gone a different way? Would like some ideas, mastermind around it. What you got?
Yeah, I got one. So, partnerships in the real estate world.
Uh-huh.
Uh, what's the do's and don'ts? How do you separate the work, and how do you go about sharing the load?
Yeah. Okay. So this is a big question. It's a good question. So partnerships, do you talking about like joining it, like creating a team and having co-leadership?
So, I want to get into a partnership in a farm for an area in Salt Lake City. I already have. I'm going through the fast cap, and I found this great, gal. She's pretty cool. The checks all the boxes for like humble, motivated, and really smart. For at least like being a partner and all that good stuff. And so I'm suggesting that we partner up for this neighborhood. And so I just wanted to see what's everybody else experienced as far as like the do's and don'ts and stuff like that.
Okay. So I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate here. My question is why? What's the benefit? What's the benefit of partnership versus figuring out a way to collaborate without entanglement and obligation? See, like so partnerships, most partnerships, like 50-50s, co-leaderships, they fail pretty quickly. With because of a couple different challenges. Number one is there was never like a clear division of duties. It's generally two people that are really similar that would like to get some collaboration. Oftentimes, when you're newer, feeling like having somebody else to run with is a little safer or more comfortable. But there's really no benefit and there's no like rocket fuel as far as like who's the driver, who's the implementer, who's the visionary, who's the detail person. If you've got two like loosey goosey agents running around doing stuff, creating chaos below, um, there's like what happens often is without a clear division of duties of who's going to do what and who's a rainmaker versus joint partnership, there's unmet expectations which creates resentment. So most of the partnerships that I've seen have failed due to resentment, and where one person is a little bit more driven to get things done and the other is just kind of taking what comes at a split. And at some point, someone's like, you got to do like, I don't feel like you're pulling your weight. What, like, etc. So, with that being said, there are still ways of. So, are you saying that there's a farm that you'd like to work that's probably got a certain financial output on the front end that is probably more than you want to take on your own, and having a partner to maybe split some of those costs would be beneficial at first?
Yeah. So the area is called the Avenues. So there's a mix of. Sorry, my baby's crying in the background.
That's okay.
There's a mix of like older homes. So there's a mix of $1.2 million, $2 million homes, and it could range from down to six or seven, $600,000 or $700,000 homes.
Okay.
And so she wants to get into luxury, and I want to do volume and then progress into luxury. And so to be able to share those costs, because we're both not financially sound, except for my one deal, but whatever. Um, so I figured we can partner up as far as she can help me. She's good at social media, and she's good at I believe, but religion, but LDS people like to door knock, so that she can help me with the door knocking situation. And then I can help her with like technology and doing all that good stuff, you know, because I'm prior IT. So if we collab, we can try to. My idea is that we can kind of teach each other our strengths, and
Okay.
so on and
And
so
then what
forth.
would be the agreement on any so are you saying that any transactions that come out of that neighborhood are split?
Our split, yeah, 50-50.
Okay. So then the question, so here's the next question. When that closes, who gets the client in their database? And if that client gives a referral, who gets the split and for how long? And what if the referral brings a referral? What happens to that for how long? So
Yeah,
there's a
that
so,
hasn't been. Yeah,
yeah, so
that
there's
hasn't
some
been discussed yet.
questions. Yeah, so you know, it would be good to uh sit down together and just literally go and map out all of those scenarios and for how long. And so, like, what are your expectations? What are my expectations? Am I just going to be tech support and you door knock? Do you feel like that's even 50-50? Like, if we get a property and then it's got to get photos and stuff, are we splitting those expenses 50-50? Or like, how is that going to work? When commissions come in, are we just both co-listing? Are you creating a separate entity? I would highly recommend uh, finding an attorney and creating just a separate joint venture partnership agreement between you two that they will also outline all the things and like how do you dissolve it if it goes sideways, what happens, X, Y, and Z. They may even recommend, finances, etc. Betsy raises her hand.
The question that I would like to ask him is money the only reason why you're going for a partnership? Because if that's the main reason, you might want to partner up with a lender rather than somebody else, a lender who can support you and can assist you, because that's what I have been doing, like for the mailers and things like that. You will be surprised how much a lender can actually help you.
Yeah. So my reasoning for partnering up is skill based. So she has skills that I don't, and so if I can partner up, I like creating friendships, creating partnerships that complement something that I don't have.
Yeah.
And so that way I can come up to what they have and kind of learn what they have, and then I can share what I have.
So in short, it sounds so far like, okay, like so far like green light, green light. The challenge I think that most partnerships have is they didn't spend enough time on the front end talking about the what ifs. It's get real clear on the what ifs and how things can go sideways and some concerns and just put them out there on the front end. The more you're able to talk about on the front end, the less chances there's like a huge blow up on the back end. The things that have fallen apart, the resentment pieces, that's because people are like, hey, you know what? This is a God thing. It's a gut thing. This feels good. I slept well on it. Let's just do it. I trust. Let's go. And cool. Like 99 out of 100, those go sideways because there hasn't been enough conversation on what happens. If this, if this, if this. And then all of a sudden, the seeds of resentment start to sprout.
Yeah.
So right now, based on what you said, not a bad idea, but it's a very early. I think you're super early in the process. This is not something that I would suggest you jump into next week. Like
Yeah.
take some time and outline this out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I that's kind of why I was thinking like maybe I should like wait, slow down. Let me ask a few people how they've done it before, and then. But yeah, this is great, and great insight, because I was just gonna jump into it and not have any of these like you know dams to hold the water in.
Listen, partnerships are hard. Partnerships are hard. One of my last partnerships was a complete like explosion. It was not good, right? So like even with the best intentions, they can go sideways pretty hard. And they could cost a lot of money. I mean, I was stuck on the hook with a 2-year guarantee on a commercial space for $5,700 a month. So it was for me, it was a $75,000 loss, cash, like real money. So it can go sideways, and it could be very real.
Yeah, my stepfather has his own business, and he's done a couple partnerships, and he resents partnerships to the fullest. And so that's kind of
Keep
why
asking, keep asking, keep asking your sphere, keep talking, and you may come you may come to an idea that's comfortable. But I've seen this a lot in leadership. I see this a lot in coaching, especially with newer agents. Is the moment there's a little bit of momentum, like you want to you think the way to scale is team up, and it just gets sloppy and messy, right? Like there's a difference between like accountability and like having people around you that can work with you and run with you, and and even like having teams or relationships where there's spill off opportunities without having to like all get tied together into an agreement. So there's ways of still maintaining identity and collaborating. Great question.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you.
Yeah, great question. Anyone else have any other inputs or thoughts? Anyone else have a really cool partnership that fell apart, like crash and burn like I did? I'm like, man, if you don't got scars in this part of the game, like I don't know.
I've had I had a partnership that went well, and then the second time I started a team, it didn't go as well. And then Michelle and I put one together before she went to EXP, and that went well. So I've had both. I mean, I've had good and bad, but I've been in the business for 28 years. So, I've had my experiences. So you got to be very careful, and you do have to take your time. You can't just jump into it. You've got to look at all the pros and the cons, and you've got to ask a lot of questions. And you got to do your due diligence. You just got to cover all the bases.
I think I'm going to reiterate what both of them just said too, is asking all the what ifs and all the questions. What if one of you decides to start to grow in another area, and it's fine, you still have this, but now you're having success over here. This person might feel left out or resentful, or there's so many possible things where it can go very badly. So spell it out very clearly. If it is only for this one little thing, make sure you know, like, hey, I'm still going to do my other stuff over here, but this partnership is just around this one thing. Or are we sharing all the things? Because that can get, the more unanswered questions there are, the messier it's going to get, or it can get.
Yeah, my first partner, she retired earlier than what I was expecting her to. And then my second person that I brought into a team, that I thought she was young and new, but it didn't end up being not for her, but she wasn't for real estate. And it really went, I started that one off way, what can I say? Doing 50-50 was not what I should have done with her. And you got to be careful doing the 50-50 to whether that person, I don't know, you just got to be careful how you set it up is what I want to say. You got to be very careful, because it may not be, you don't know that they're that person that is going to do their share. If they're not going to do 50%, if they're going to do 20% of what it is and they're getting 50-50, it's just not worth it. You just got to be very careful.
Yeah, you guys bring up a good point of like, hey, what happens on our own time, on our outside of this little farm area. And so I was thinking that would be on our own dime, on our own time. and then just to have us like once a week attack this area as far as, and then just share the marketing costs, and then whatever comes out of that area is 50-50. But I need to figure out myself and her, we need to figure out who gets the lead after, or who gets that after everything is all transactioned and done.
Yeah. Look, behaviorally, I'm wired for optimism and execution and working. So in my mind, I'm like, problems, obstacles, we'll jump over them when we get there. We'll work our way through them. So like, I don't like to spend time outlining. I'm like, why we got to be negative about this? But then you need the black hats. You need the people to go, hold on a second. But did you think about this, this, and this? And what if this happens? And I'm like, why you got to be so negative? And it's not about being negative. It's let's shine a light on this stuff. So when we encounter them, we've already agreed how we're going to do it. We've already agreed what it's come, right? So taking the time now, putting on your black hat, outlining all the ways it could go wrong, allows you to just really plow through in the future. So don't get rose-colored glasses, and it's super exciting to build, and it's super exciting to think about these opportunities and possibilities, and it could cost you a lot of money and a relationship and lots of things. So
I didn't have one that crashed and burned, but I had I was in like, it was kind of like a partnership. It was a friend of mine that I had from nursing, and she's actually the reason that I got into real estate. And she had called me at one point and asked me if she could come work with me. And we just kind of did it like more for leverage than anything. And my broker pretty much kept telling us at the time, like, it's not going to work. Like, it's not going to work this way.
Bad
Like,
idea.
yeah, he made us and it actually did work really, really well for us. But she was never making like money really on her own. I was making money, and she was like, and she was helping me. So I was paying her for like what she was helping me with. But she made my vacations much easier because she was there, and like she was able to service the business and everything while I was gone. And she really was like super helpful, but she just never could make enough money. And I mean, I would go on all of her listing appointments and everything with her, because if she went by herself, she wouldn't get the listing. And I'm not tooting my horn. I have no idea why it was that way. Because I thought she was great when she would like talk to people. So I couldn't figure it out why she didn't get the listings when I wasn't there. And but we, like, so we more than anything did it for leverage. But I always, and when I say leverage, it was kind of like what you were saying. She knows something that you don't know. Like, she has skills you don't have. Like, you have skills she doesn't have. Somebody's got more money than the other to kind of invest in it. But I can see why, like, my broker was saying like this isn't gonna work this way. I feel like it's definitely got to be like outlined, and you need to have the discussion about potential things that might happen, like Matt was bringing up, before they even happen.
yeah. So if we had to summarize everything from today's call, it's assume the worst, hope for the best, work your ass off. Partnerships are hard. Teams are even harder because they have people in them. People are hard. Everything else is easy.
And get clarity around everything. Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard enough doing transactions on your own with customers, and then you start bringing in agents into the mix. You got to navigate customers, agents. Yeah. I mean, that gets super fun. Super fun. Any other final thoughts? Ahas, because we're right at that time. It's amazing how fast this 30 minutes goes. Okay.
I want to tell him, don't feel discouraged. We're not all trying to talk you out of it. And honestly, I would still be working with the girl that I worked with if it wasn't for the fact she got out of real estate. It's not like we parted ways. She just got out of real estate. So
Don't be discouraged.
it can work.
Don't be discouraged. Just be informed.
Yes.
Be armed with great questions. Don't be discouraged. Just go through, be neutral about it. Right. So try to limit your bias towards it. Cause I know how exciting it is to like think about building it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm still gonna go through with it. I've already made my decision. You know, like I'd rather stay with my decision, because people who hesitate tend to not, be successful, right? So I've already made my decision. I find this gut call really good. I just want to know everybody else's thoughts and opinions, and seeing what, like I said, just advice on what has gone wrong and what can go wrong, and try to highlight those so that way I can go make an informed decision on how to continue and try to make this partnership work.
Just be prepared and have it all down in writing would be my suggestion. And I would, like Matt said, I would definitely have an attorney.
Definitely. Yeah. I agree with the attorney part. That's, again, my stepfather's like whenever you enter a partnership, always attorney. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's just a couple $100 to get a lot of this things just outlined, and then they're going to have questions that you may not be considering that also are applicable. So, all right, y'all, have an amazing weekend. We'll see you Monday, same time, same channel.
Bye.
Stay tuned for the new password. Bye.
Bye.